The lunch rush had barely begun, but the little diner on Maple Street was already buzzing. Plates clattered, coffee poured, and the smell of grilled onions drifted through the air like a warm blanket. At table 7, a young waitress named Clara moved with practiced ease, pouring refills, wiping spills, smiling at regulars. She had worked here for 3 years, long enough to recognize the regulars and long enough to stop noticing the tired faces that came and went. But today, something made her pause. A man sat in the corner booth. He was young, maybe late 20s, with tired eyes and a faded jacket that had seen better winters. Next to him, a small boy, maybe 5 or 6, sat quietly swinging his legs. They didn't have menus. They didn't reach for the sugar. They just sat, hands folded on the table, watching the other customers eat. Clara approached with her notepad and her practiced smile. "Good afternoon, folks. What can I get for you today?" The man looked up, startled as if he had forgotten she might come. He opened his mouth, then closed it. His eyes darted to the menu board above the counter, then back to his son. The boy looked up at Clara with big, curious eyes, innocent, unblinking. Before the man could speak, the child leaned toward his father and whispered, softly, but not softly enough, "We have nothing, Daddy." The words hung in the air like a held breath. Clara felt her chest tighten. She had heard tough stories before, people down on their luck, travelers passing through, the occasional regular who'd lost their job. But this was different. This was a child who understood too much and a father who had nothing to give. The man finally spoke, his voice low and rough. "Just water, please. 2 waters." Clara nodded, wrote nothing down and walked back to the counter. She didn't tell her manager. She didn't gossip with the cook. Instead, she walked to the kitchen window and spoke quietly to Marcus, the old cook who had worked there for 30 years. "Table 7, 2 waters, but I'm bringing them soup and bread. On me." Marcus raised an eyebrow but didn't argue. He knew Clara's heart. He ladled 2 bowls of chicken soup and tucked warm rolls into a basket. "You're a good one, Clara," he said. She carried the tray back to table 7 and set it down gently. The man looked up, confused. "We didn't order this." Clara smiled softly. "It's on the house. Every kid deserves a warm meal." The boy's eyes widened. He looked at his father, who blinked rapidly, fighting something behind his eyes. The father nodded slowly, his voice barely above a whisper. "Thank you. Thank you so much." The boy picked up his spoon and took a bite, then another, and then he looked at Clara and said, "Are you an angel?" Clara laughed softly. "No, sweetheart. Just someone who knows what hungry feels like." She didn't say more. She didn't need to. As the afternoon wore on, Clara kept an eye on table 7. The father and son ate slowly, savoring every bite. The man didn't rush. He didn't check his phone. He just watched his son eat, and every few minutes he would reach across the table and squeeze the boy's hand. When they finished, the man stood and walked to the counter. He pulled out a worn leather wallet, empty except for a few coins and a faded photograph. He placed $2 on the counter. "I know it's not enough," he said, his voice heavy with shame. "But I want to pay something. For the soup. For the kindness." Clara pushed the coins back toward him. "You keep that. Buy your son a treat on the way home." The man shook his head, his jaw tight. "I can't take charity." Clara leaned in, her voice gentle but firm. "It's not charity. It's community. We all need help sometimes. And one day, when you're on your feet, you'll help someone else. That's how it works." The man looked at her for a long moment. Then something broke open in his chest. His eyes glistened and he nodded. "I'll remember this," he said. "I'll never forget this." The boy tugged at his father's sleeve. "Daddy, can we come back tomorrow?" The man knelt down to meet his son's eyes. "Maybe, buddy, maybe." But Clara didn't see them the next day, or the week after. She told herself it didn't matter, that she had done what she could, and that was enough. Still, she found herself glancing at the corner booth every time she walked by, hoping to see that little boy's bright eyes and that tired father's grateful nod. Weeks passed. Winter turned to spring. The diner got busier, and Clara got busier, and soon the memory of table 7 became a warm thought she carried in the back of her mind, a reminder that kindness cost nothing and meant everything.
Then, one rainy Tuesday afternoon, the bell above the door chimed. Clara looked up from the counter and her breath caught. The father from table 7 walked in. But he was different now. His jacket was new, his shoulders were straight, and in his hand, he carried a small paper bag. He walked straight to Clara, his eyes bright with purpose. "I promised I'd come back," he said. "I got a job. A good one. It's not much, but it's honest work and it's enough." He handed her the paper bag. Inside was a homemade pie, still warm. "My son helped me bake it," he said, smiling. "He said we had to bring something to the angel waitress." Clara felt her eyes sting. She took the pie and held it like it was made of gold. "You didn't have to do that." "I know," the man said. "But I wanted to, because you didn't just feed my son, you fed my hope." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small envelope. Inside was a photograph, the same one from his wallet, now framed. It was a picture of a woman, young and smiling, holding a baby. "My wife," he said softly. "She passed 2 years ago. Cancer. After she died, I fell apart. Couldn't work. Couldn't think. Could barely take care of my boy. That day we came here, I had spent our last few dollars on a bus ticket to nowhere. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to go." He paused, wiping his eyes with the back of his hand. "But you reminded me that there are still good people in this world. You made me believe that maybe, just maybe, we could make it." Clara didn't know what to say. She reached across the counter and took his hand. "You already have," she said. "Look at you. Look at your son. You're making it." That evening, after the diner closed, Clara sat alone at table 7. The pie sat on the counter, still warm. She thought about the boy's whisper, "We have nothing," and how those 4 small words had changed everything. She thought about how easy it would have been to walk past, to take the water order and move on, to ignore the quiet hunger in a child's eyes. But she didn't. And because she didn't, a father found his footing, a son found his smile, and a waitress found something she hadn't expected. A reminder that even in a world that often feels cold, a single act of warmth can ripple farther than we ever imagine. Clara looked out the window at the rain-slicked street, and she whispered to no one in particular, "Sometimes the smallest act of kindness can change someone's world." She folded her apron, turned off the lights, and walked home beneath the soft glow of the street lamps, carrying in her heart the quiet truth that we are all, in some way, waiting for someone to see us. And when someone does, everything changes. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who needs to be reminded that kindness is never wasted.